All right here. So officially welcome, and thank you for joining us on today's webinar, Sweat Equity Simplified, Strategies for Tracking and Maximizing Impact. We are so excited to connect with all of you today. And I'm actually seeing so many names that I recognize from when our team recently attended the Habitat for Humanity Affiliate Conference in Atlanta. What an amazing event. I was not able to go myself, but I heard from our team members just how great it was. So I hope to go again in 2 years. So now I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Tara Peitzer, and I am the Director of Marketing and Communications at Giveffect. I have over a decade of marketing and communications experience, and I've held nonprofit leadership roles at Immerman Angels and Tickled Pink. I've also volunteered for many nonprofits throughout my entire life, especially with the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Craig?
Absolutely. I was a little too excited to introduce myself, so I jumped the slide there. My name is Craig Shorter. I'm a Client Success Account Manager here at Giveffect. I have worked with Habitat for Humanity's affiliates of all sizes for a long time now. It's been exciting. I'm a technology and nonprofit professional with extensive experience working with specific technologies to provide an exceptional user-focused experience. It's a passion of mine, and I'm also a passionate supporter of nonprofit missions for a greater future.
Thanks, Craig. So now let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We'll start by going over what sweat equity is and what are some of the common challenges faced by Habitat affiliates. Then we'll announce and share details of the launch of our new sweat equity module. Very excited about that. And after that, Craig will give us a live demo of what that sweat equity module is and how you can use it. And finally, we'll talk a bit about our volunteer management volunteer management module in relation to sweat equity and how to use both modules to really streamline your efforts. And of course, we'll leave some time at the end for Q&A. Speaking of Q&A, throughout today's webinar, please go ahead and submit your questions using the icon at the bottom of your screen, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can at the end.
Okay.
Great. So before we dive too deep into the meat of today's presentation, I first wanted to share a little bit about what Giveffect is for those of you who may not be too familiar. Giveffect is a 10-in-1 software built specifically for nonprofit organizations. Our software comes with all these tools that you see here in one connected system. And I'm only going to go over these at a very high level today. But if you're interested in learning more, at the end of the webinar, we'll give you an opportunity to book a one-on-one product demo. So to go over these at a very high level, I'll start with online giving, which includes the ability to accept and process online, offline, in-kind donations, and so much more. Our relationship database, or as we like to call it, the brain of the software, centralizes your constituent data, including fundraising, community engagement, volunteering, marketing, and so much more at the constituent level to create your one source of truth and help you build strong relationships. Events and fundraising provides you with the ability to create and manage a variety of campaign types and events, from simple donation campaigns to galas, peer-to-peer campaigns, and even auctions. Volunteer management helps you easily manage and track your volunteers. We're going to go over just a little bit of that today. And volunteer shifts and track completed hours. You can set up automated communications such as shift reminders and thank you notes. And we also have an app called Event Buddy, which is really helpful for self-check-in and checkout. Next, we have nonprofit management, which helps you and your team with task management, resource management, and so much more. Next is membership management, which helps you manage memberships, such as giving societies, in a very organized and automated way. And of course, email marketing, or rather marketing and email, which includes tools for email marketing, direct marketing, SMS texting, and so much more. And again, because Giveffect is a connected system, you can easily leverage the data from the relationship database and across all the 10 systems to personalize your marketing and communications with data in real time and without ever leaving the platform. Next, we have grant management and moves management. Grant management helps your team keep track of which grants you're applying for and each stage of the process. And moves management helps your team manage major donor portfolios. Then we have websites and web hosting. And lastly, smart automation, which is Giveffect's proprietary technology that automates processes and connects data, actions, and tasks throughout the entire software suite. So very quick overview of the many, many things that Giveffect can do and includes. Again, not going too deep into that here today, but we would love to have the opportunity to share more with you at a later date. All right, next slide. So now the real reason why you all are here today is to talk about sweat equity. So let's kick this off with talking about what it is. I'm sure all of you here today already know, but sweat equity is most commonly used by Habitat affiliates to help partner families build their homes alongside volunteers. And partner families often recruit family and friends to commit volunteer hours on their behalf to help them reach their goals. And here's just a couple of ways that sweat equity can be earned. So hands-on construction work, clearing debris, habitat restore greeters, writing thank you notes, and providing meals on build sites. All right, so now we want to take a moment to actually find out which are your biggest challenges. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll. Let's see here. All right. So it's multiple choice. Please go ahead and choose as many as are appropriate to you. And if you notice, the other at the very bottom is also a great choice. And if you select other, please share what that other challenge is in the chat. And I'll give you all just a couple minutes to make your selections. Yes, Suzanne, you can do all the above. Since it's multiple choice, just go ahead and select all of them. Let's see, I'll give another 10, 15 seconds. Wonderful. Looks like the responses have kind of slowed. So I'm guessing most people have responded by now. So thank you for your participation. So let's see, it looks like, let's see, I'm going to share the results here. So I think you all should be able to see it. But it looks like the top challenge, according to this poll, is manually tracking sweat equity hours. Yes, that's what we have heard from so many affiliates, and we'll definitely address that today. A close second and third is analyzing sweat equity data and generating reports. We'll definitely get to that as well. And tracking sweat equity progress. Very good one. And then third is allocating the correct sweat equity credit to the right person. Now let's see, let's take a quick look at what other people wrote in for other. Let's see here. Oh, scheduling hours is also a challenge. Yes. Craig, we're going to be touching on that too, right? Great, great. And our current tracking system our current system for tracking is primitive. We've heard that a lot. And if you have a system, that's a good first step, because not everyone has a system from a few conversations that we've had with some affiliates. Let's see here. And keeping home buyers advised of changes in the schedule is challenging. Yep, communication is key. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this poll. Oops. Okay, there we go. All right. So just know that you are not alone. Many of the Habitat affiliates we've spoken to share many of the same challenges that you do. So let's see here. The four most common sweat equity challenges that we found with our conversations with many affiliates are these four. So effectively recording sweat equity hours, right? I think many people selected that in our poll. Allocating the correct sweat equity credit to the right person. And this may be complicated when you have so many individuals involved, right? Homeowners, family members, friends. And especially we heard many affiliates were using just pen and paper or even just spreadsheets. So yes, that can become very complicated. Third is tracking participant progress and in real time. We did speak with some affiliates who really only address this on a monthly basis, and then it can really pile up and you wonder how accurate it is. So being able to track participant progress and in real time is definitely beneficial. And using your data to generate reports such as for your executive director, your board, or even to share with Habitat for Humanity International. Craig, you speak with so many habitats on a daily, weekly basis, and you do the onboarding as well as act as your account management role. What insights do you have to share from, working with so many affiliates who come to Giveffect and are like, okay, we need help with this?
No, absolutely. Yes. I'm sure a lot of the people here are going to be like, oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I love working with affiliates. I work with so many, from large affiliates to small and across the country. Sweat equity obviously comes up pretty often in conversations when onboarding and teaching teams how to leverage all that Giveffect has to offer in our 10-in-1 system. Their challenges range from manually entering data into Excel spreadsheets to pen and paper. Many times this is due to the organization never having enough time. But in reality, these methods of tracking sweat equity have caused so much extra admin work for them. For example, one affiliate with me shared that they had to carry a small notebook to track these sweat equity items, and they would have a small pencil in hand doing calculations for sweat equity logging. Who wants to do math by hand? Not only is it important to save time, but it's incredibly important that affiliates trust their data. And that is where we as Giveffect come in. Another affiliate we spoke to recently shared that they were using carbon paper to track their data. And you can imagine just the game-changing upgrade this is moving to a digital system. And this is why Giveffect created this new feature to take one of the most important aspects of any habitat and simplify it.
Thank you so much, Craig. I didn't even realize that anyone was still using carbon paper. Wonderful. Okay, so yes, just to reiterate, to solve for all of these challenges and more, this is why we created this new feature. All right, next slide. Great, so the announcement. So Giveffect, we just launched our new sweat equity module. So again, all within the 10-in-1 system. So this is not a separate add-on, it is included. And we're just so excited about this one based off of feedback and conversations that we've had with affiliates of all sizes. And this was really created specifically for habitats. So we're really excited to be able to provide this tool for you. And with this tool, you can expect to seamlessly manage sweat equity credits for both participants and third-party contributors. as well as allow for volunteers to self-allocate their hours to a partner family recipient. You'll be able to access real-time sweat equity credit tracking and progress, and streamline sweat equity data collection and reporting. And of course, something that is true across all of Giveffect is eliminating team silos and manual data entry. So now I'm going to pass the mic over to Craig to give us a live demo of the new tool in Giveffect.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and switch over here. So this is Giveffect. Right when you log in, you start at Mission Control and you will set sail to your tracking destination via the menu in the left-handed purple column here. Under your CRM here, there is a module nestled in front of your eyes, and it is the Sweat Equity module. Now, in Giveffect, you are able to meticulously track the sweat equity process with ease through our sweat equity module. The tongue-tied. The sweat equity module is divided into 5 sub-tabs for your tracking needs. Now, these include credits. Now, with credits, you can give credit where credit is due. You all know the rock stars who make sweat equity that special. The credits tab tracks the individuals with whom none of this would be possible. This area stores all of your organization's sweat equity credit records. You have the recipients. Under this subtab, you can monitor and create individuals who have sweat equity allocated to them. An example of this would be your partner families. Contributors. Volunteers who served and whose service have a corresponding sweat equity recipient identified, essentially those who volunteer on behalf of others. Now we have principals. This is where you can review the contacts who have been identified as a sweat equity recipient directly by a volunteer through that volunteer's supporter account. An agent is simply a volunteer that's allowed to identify their preferred sweat equity recipient from your organization's list of specified principals as configured per your charity settings, which we will get to in a minute. So allocating sweat equity credits is a seamless process in Giveffect, and we will show you just how quickly you can become fluent in it. Let's review first the sweat equity dashboard. In the sweat equity dashboard, you will track your sweat equity information based off of which applicable sub-tab meets your searching needs. The really exciting aspect of this is that while this is your main hub for sweat equity, this will not be the only area where you can assign that sweat equity. You can also do this by navigating your volunteers module when you are setting up a volunteers record creation, or volunteers contact records when you are creating one offline or on the admin side, or revising an already existing one. So to speak, the sky's the limit with creativity there. Now, going back to the sweat equity tab here, you will be greeted with a user-friendly dashboard. All of these will have unique results generated for your reporting needs. These items will consist of a unique scoreboard, as we love to call it, that details referential data for your convenience and reporting, the list of volunteers associated with the sub-tab in question, so all of your credits, for example, here. You can actually also customize your view for your best viewing experience. So lots of customizable actions here to make your life as easy as possible. So let's dive in and let's add a credit. As you can see, I can add a credit by clicking on the orange icon to the right here. Now within this area, there are 2 options to choose from. There's offline credits and volunteer assignments. With volunteer assignments, you are creating the assignment that the credit is assigned to, essentially, and detailing all of the scheduling and job-related items associated with that assignment. Now, with offline credits, say you don't have all of those details of an assignment that you have at the top in mind, but you would just like to get a credit in the system for quick tracking, and you can follow up on the other items later. This is when offline credits comes into play. But for this demo, we're going to create a volunteer assignment. So here, we're going to enter in our volunteer, which is going to be Timmy Smith. We're going to pull up Timmy Smith's job. Just habitat construction. We are going to assign a specific day and time here. And this is where you lastly will link your recipient who will receive the sweat equity. In this case, we have Mr. Craig Shorter, who has agreed to be that specific recipient. And we'll hit create. Now, by searching Timmy Smith here, as you will be able to see right here, we now have that information that we need that we just typed in. And under the Recipients tab, we now have Craig Shorter, because now he's going to be a recipient. And the Contributors tab will display the contributor, and in this case, Timmy Smith. Perfect. So I would like, okay, so from here, let's discuss principals and agents. So when it comes to adding a principal, who is the recipient assigned by the assignment? And when it comes to the agent, the volunteer who's access to self-manage which principal they want to assign sweat equity time to. You may be asking, okay, so when to add a principal and when to add an agent? So let's start with when to add a principal. If you know somebody who often benefits from sweat equity and you want volunteers to easily choose them for their assignments, you can list that person as the principal. This makes it easier for volunteers to pick them directly from their supporter accounts when allocating sweat equity. Now, when to add an agent? If you want specific volunteers to be able to choose who gets their sweat equity contributions from the list of principals in your organization, you can label those volunteers as agents. Then you set up your charity settings and configure that access level. So as an admin, I'm going to create a principal profile in our organization system for Craig Shorter. Say he wasn't assigned just yet in the credits section, but I want him to have future capability for agents to select on for time because he is just open to doing assignments, loves the exercise. So from here, what you would do is you would just navigate the Add a Principal button, and you'll pull up this dropdown to link the contact, and then you would just simply select Create. And perfect. You can see this highlighted blue area. He has now been created. Piece of cake, right? And he will be trackable from here on out to pull up from agents or through the admin side. Perfect. Now let's go into the agents tab, subtab, excuse me. Similarly to principal, you will add an authorized volunteer that can self-manage their equity by selecting the Add an Agent orange button here. Here, this is where as an admin member, I'm going to give Timmy Smith the right to be able to have access to configure who their principals will be at any given time. So I created that, linked the name, and I'm just going to create it so it's in the system under this sub tab. Perfect. Now keep in mind, when it comes to creating this agent, you will only need to do this if you have decided to restrict which volunteer has access to self-management. We will touch on this more in just a bit. Now, when it comes to the reporting aspect, because I always get excited about the reporting aspect, and I like to dive in as quickly as possible, but I have to have patience. So just like with reporting across the entire Giveffect all-in-one nonprofit software system, reporting sweat equity is truly simplified. You can either navigate to the reporting tab on the left-hand side, or my personal favorite, because it's just right there and ready to go. Under any sub-tab, you will have the option to download a customized report by selecting the download results button here. The latter, in this case, is what I will show you for today. So after we select that download results button, as you can see, what this does is allows you to customize your report to however you need it, making those board meetings much more fun and conversational and not have to pull out a stack of papers and like tripping and dropping everything and just being like, oh, we do not have enough time in the day. So here you have all these configurable checkboxes. And what this means is you can choose whatever you want to have in the report. If you want to have all of it, check it all. If not, you would just want to check those items, like say, for example, the sweat equity items here. And then you would just download those, and that would download that Excel report for you. Simple as that. Wonderful. And then obviously, as time progresses, if you were to join the system, there are many other ways to add on to this. Absolutely. The great thing with these reports, you can easily pull up items specific to sweat equity. And this also means that you can limit or expand your reporting anywhere from a full sweat equity report, or it can be solely focused towards a group or even just an individual. So really exciting stuff. All right, perfect. So I'm going to go to the supporter account. So I am Timmy Smith. And now that I am logged into my supporter account, I need to manage my sweat equity, because I've just recently been promoted to sweat equity agent, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. Here we are under my dashboard in my supporter account. If you take a quick glance over on the left-hand side here, where the purple column displays options that I could choose from to navigate anywhere that I have participated in, you will see my volunteering. We're going to go ahead and select my volunteering. Here under the assignments tab, we will see our specific assignments. And here in the sweat equity drop-down area, this is where you will see a list of the individuals that the principals, so to speak, that you have assigned. And if you need to change them, you can select change, or if one has not been selected yet, you would just select, and that would pull from your drop-down of principals already established in your system. Simple as that. So seamless tracking there. We're going to cover one more item just because I love talking to you all so much. We're going to go into sweat equity management. Now, under your charity settings here, which is essentially the I guess you could say the admin configuration or just general settings for all aspects of your system and how they function to what you want it to. And by selecting, excuse me, the volunteering tab here, at the very bottom, you have this sweat equity management dropdown. So we have three options to choose from for how your organization will want to utilize permissions. Giveffect is quite customizable. Simply go into that charity settings, as I had mentioned, and you will configure these three options. These three options allow 3 different degrees of management control. You can grant access to specific supporters who can, or excuse me, one where you can grant access to specific supporters who can direct sweat equity hours, all of your supporters, like all volunteers. The restricted one, which is what we alluded to with the agents tab. When you create an agent, this would typically be under the restricted tab here, or excuse me, restricted selection, or disabled. Perhaps you're an organization that's like, we prefer to do this from the admin side. This is a cool idea, but this is where we want to go. There's something in here for everyone. And that's an exciting part of this. So to summarize here, Giveffect's goal as an all-in-one system is to easily toggle between each tool within the system and just absolutely utilize the data between them. Perfect. So I'm going to go back here and thank you for listening to my spiel and my excitement.
Thank you so much, Greg. Really appreciate you sharing that. And again, Craig is sharing this, for everyone, but if you do decide to book a one-on-one demo, it's a really great time to speak directly with one of our team members and get a very close-up view, ask very specific questions, run through different scenarios that you might experience at your affiliate, and learn how you can solve those challenges or accomplish your goals when it comes to sweat equity specifically here in those conversations. So thank you again so much, Craig, and we're looking forward to answering more questions along the way. So, all right, let's move on now to just quickly kind of recap a little bit more about what Craig just went over. I know it was a lot of information. And of course, we're all viewing it on Zoom. And so it's not as easy as if it was just on your screen and you had full access to the platform, right? So just to recap, Giveffect helps your affiliate simplify sweat equity credit allocation, empower volunteers to self-allocate sweat equity hours, and along with staff control to disable, enable, or restrict permissions. Similarly, in other aspects of Giveffect, your team gets customizable control over different items. So you're able to, for example, with our peer-to-peer campaigns, you're able to give up some control to allow your supporters to create their own pages. And at the same time, you still keep your control to make sure branding is on par, and the information being shared is in full alignment with your mission and just how you like to do things. So giving up a little control, but also keeping that control as much and as little as your affiliate prefers. Getting back to topic at hand though, so with this tool, you can also
My apologies.
That's okay. Automatically track sweat equity participant progress, and also easily run sweat equity reports. So based off of the poll, we've kind of hit on most of the major challenges that you all have experienced. All right, so now we're on to a little bit of a new section, sweat equity and volunteer management. So I just want to touch very quickly on how sweat equity is related to and is really an extension of volunteer management. So let's take just a quick look at volunteer management in Giveffect. All right, so here's just an example of a campaign page created with Giveffect. This is for the Smith Bill 2024. Campaign pages are customizable and easy to create in just minutes. Here we're looking at, again, the Smith Family Build campaign, and you can see the image and the copy sharing the Smith family story. And then on the right, there are 3 call to action buttons. Number 1 to volunteer, and then under that donate, and then under that is sponsor. So you can see how you can make a campaign very versatile to whether the focus should be all 3 of these, or if you only wanted to include volunteer or donate or sponsor, you have options. And as a side note, when someone signs up to volunteer, they click on the volunteer button and will be navigated to a volunteer application on the affiliate site to fill out. The information they share will automatically create a new profile within Giveffect if one does not already exist. And once that application has been completed, they'll be prompted to select a volunteer shift utilizing the volunteer calendar that the affiliate has already set up. So now we'll show you where this application lives and what a constituent profile looks like on Giveffect. Great, so this is Wendell here. So this is what a constituent profile looks like in Giveffect. A constituent profile includes both volunteer and donation information, providing a 360-degree view of your supporters in one place. You can see Wendell Armstrong's contact information at the top, and any groups that the affiliate has decided to put him in, such as 2021 donor, newsletter recipient, or Build 2022 volunteer. On the side there where it says groups, so that's for segmentation, and these groups can be utilized for personalized communication. Remember, your email and marketing platform is part of Giveffect, and so you can very easily and seamlessly segment your communication without ever leaving the platform. All right, and then at the bottom here, if you scroll down, you can see a snapshot of his volunteer history at the bottom. And you can kind of see too, I know it's a light gray, the volunteering is in the kind of pinkish color. And if you were to click on any of these other tabs or words like giving or campaigns or interactions, you're able to toggle between different areas of the platform as well. So let's go on to the next slide, which is just a closer look and a continue scroll down the page of the constituent profile. So looking a little closer at volunteering, you can see under volunteering, we've circled the sweat equity credits that Wendell has. So he has 3 sweat equity credits. And then if you look a little further down on the page, you can see the date of when he volunteered, the campaign that he volunteered as part of, so the Smith Build 2024. And then if you look further to the right, you can see under sweat equity that his hours were volunteered on behalf of Timmy Smith. Great. And that was just a quick snapshot of volunteer management and how that relates to sweat equity. Of course, we could go on and on. Giveffect has so much included, but we only have so much time today. So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming and open up the floor for questions. I know we had a couple come in, but now's a good time to add any additional questions you might have. And like I shared earlier, if you want to learn more, you can schedule a personalized demo by either using the QR code or heading to our website to schedule that. Let's see. So let's go ahead and look at the questions. So really quick too, from like a housekeeping perspective, is we will share the recording of this presentation after today. So don't worry if you miss some things or maybe you want to share with a colleague. We'll send a follow-up email that has access to the recording. Let's see, it looks like we have a few other questions to address. So the first one is there an app folks use to log in and record their hours?
Hello, Shyla. Yes, it is called Event Buddy. Essentially, you are given your volunteers given the opportunity to log into their shift, and that would associate those sweat equity hours in your system. So yes, and I see that you have a second part to the question, which is a credit being the equivalent at 1 hour. This is dependent, of course, on your volunteer shift, which would essentially be if the shift is 30 minutes or an hour, so to speak. So I guess you could say, long story short, yes, it would be equivalent to an hour, but it's just really dependent on how your shift is created.
Right. So essentially, a credit can be customized based off of the shift duration, right? Or however long you want that credit to last for, right? It's not just specific to an hour, just to clarify, right?
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
great. Thanks so much, Greg. The next question is, how can we validate a volunteer's hours? In other words, how do I know that that person was actually on site and worked the hours indicated?
When it comes to validating those hours, excuse me, that's where that Event Buddy app takes place. Essentially, just like the one you're seeing for the Q&A here, they will be prompted. You can print out a QR code, so to speak, and they can take their phone, they can scan it, and that will check them in. And you can toggle those permissions to ensure that they can't add in those hours later or so on. So it would be strictly through that creation of the sign-in. So that's how you can make sure that those volunteer hours are efficiently correct.
Right. And just to add to that, I think too, depending on how your build is run or how your restore is run, you may have different like volunteer managers or someone in more of a leadership role that is assisting with check-in or just overall how the different event or the shift or the build is going, that would like oversee overall check in and check out. But yes, within Giveffect, there's tools like Craig was saying, like the QR code, that really helps with or eliminate bottlenecks. You know, you don't have to necessarily like wait in line and wait for someone to find your name, especially, you know, using paper or something like that, right? Also using Event Buddy, if you do have a person in charge of checking names off the list, they can essentially search a person's name within the Event Buddy and also check them in with just a click of the button. So it goes by really fast, and you don't get that same bottleneck as if, let's say, back in the day, or maybe still doing this, like a clipboard with a list of names to check people in. Let's see. Great. We have another question here. Am I understanding that a partner family can log in and track their own hours on site?
Yes, absolutely. Going back to, I'm already giving you a demo on Event Buddy. From that perspective, yes, they would be able to track those specific hours. It would be completely automated. And once they were to sign in or check in, that would reflect immediately in your actual system.
Right, because everyone, all the partner families would have a supporter account, right?
Yes, yes, correct.
Right. And this is a related question. Thank you, Whitney. What if they forget to clock in? Can we go in and add a shift, or can they do it?
Yes, as an admin, you can manually go in and adjust their hours for their specific shift to reflect that they were there and they were there for the full time.
Great, thank you. Hope that answered your question, Whitney. Let's see here. And does the app work on cell phone and PC?
There is both a PC desktop app that you can utilize from Giveffect, and there are apps within the respective cell phone app stores. Yes.
Right, so both Android and Apple, right?
Yes, Apple.
We cover all of our bases. Great, let's see. Does the sign-in link change from day to day?
When it comes to the sign-in link, are you?
I think you're probably referring to like a shift or like a specific assignment, I'm guessing.
Well, with the specific assignment, no. It wouldn't change from day to day. They could still log in through their same information and they would just navigate that specific job. That wouldn't change. The only thing that I would say that could potentially change is printing out a QR code from our system to place on the job site that day. That would be the only thing that would change, not the sign in from the volunteer's perspective.
Right, great. I think that there is like, you know, the ability for like timestamps, and you'll be able to distinguish when someone signs in. Great, let's see what's next. Is there a pending approval before adding hours?
Yes, I do believe that there is a pending approval before you add those hours if you choose to configure it, obviously, with that restriction in mind.
Right, and just a reminder, Craig, could you just very briefly touch on the 3 different ways you can enable or restrict access to adding hours?
Absolutely. So when it comes to with the management item, you're referring to the sweat equity management, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. My apologies. Sweat equity management, there were 3 options. Restricted being that agents can create the recipient or assign their recipient at any time or reassign them. You have the ones where all volunteers in your portfolio can do that, or disable it so only you have that permission to do that. So you wouldn't want necessarily your volunteers to have that permission. You kind of want to oversee it first.
Great, thank you, Craig. Let's see here. Are categories of sweat equity customizable?
The sub tabs, I'm thinking you're referring to the sub tabs of sweat equity. They are hardwired from what I know at this point, but there are many customizable ways to really apply to what your preference would be. So in anything, it would be under the customize those columns feature.
Great. And the person who asked that question, if you're referring to any other aspect of what you wanted to know, if it could be customized, like for example, the actual sweat equity hours, the activities that are being done, or the shifts, that is 100% customizable. So Craig answered your response in regards to like the setup within Giveffect, but if you have a question about any other aspect of it, so I'm not 100% clear on what you're referring to, type in another question so we can address that. Let's see. Great, we have another question here. Oh, yes, this person was referring to the activities. So yes, you create your shifts and determine what those activities are. Again, Craig was just referring to the actual structured setup within Giveffect.
Yes, correct.
Okay, great. Let us know if you have further questions on that. Let's see, we have another question. We allow babysitters to earn a half-hour credit to every hour a partner family is performing sweat equity. Is there a customizable function that would track that?
That's an excellent question. Essentially, as we continue to build upon this sweat equity module, that is something that we have discussed as a team to implement. So, short answer, as of right now, from the top of my head, we do not have that as a current feature. There are obviously ways to track this in other areas, such as creating a custom shift within the volunteer system. But that is something that I foresee in the roadmap.
Wonderful. And just off the top of my head, Craig, you're the product expert here, but you could also probably create just half-hour shifts, right? It just wouldn't necessarily be as automated or tied to the full hour
Yeah,
that that partner family was performing, right? So not connected,
absolutely.
but two separate shifts essentially. So you're still able to fully account for it and track it in real time. It's just not connected. But we do take product requests, and many of our affiliates, when they're like, "Oh, I wish Giveffect could do this or that," they do share it with their account manager, and we really do take product requests seriously. And that is also one of the reasons we decided to create this sweat equity module, is because feedback of we want to be able to track our sweat equity even better, more seamlessly, and separate than volunteer management. Okay, great, or other as an extension of. Here's another question. Can text reminders be sent from the system? We do have SMS texting as something that you can use with Giveffect. Craig, I'll let you expand
That's
on
okay.
that.
So when it comes to the SMS messaging feature, that's more focused on auction related items like such as text a bid, or if they want to text to donate or text to give. So currently in that area, we do not have text reminders. Once again, I do want to emphasize that on what Tara said, that this is something that we take great pride in placing in our roadmap to make sure that we are providing like the most solid module for you guys. But in that meantime, depending on the tier you would be in the higher tiers, you are given options for workflows, and those workflows you can configure text message notifications such as that.
Great. Yeah. And just a reminder too, right? It's a 10-in-1 system. So our SMS text messaging is part of the marketing and email module. So book a demo and get more specifics on that and kind of see how that works. But yes, let's see. Oh, and we have a little bit of a follow-up question I just want to bring in from Whitney Walls. We allow volunteers to earn an hour per person they feed. Like if they bring breakfast and there are 12 people, they get 12 hours. Oh, wow. This might be another addition in the future along with babysitting. Oh, that's great. It's really interesting. And yeah, we'll definitely share that feedback as how is the relationship between different types of shifts might work together, because like we mentioned before, you can still add any kind of shift or assignment that you would like within the system as its own shift or assignment. But it's interesting to hear about the relationships between different types of shifts and assignments. So we will definitely share that with our product team.
And yeah, and absolutely to jump on that as well. It just makes me so humble and just happy to see this feedback come in, just because when we created this module, it was solely to make your lives as easy as possible because of all the great work that you do. And you giving us that feedback to continuously make your life much easier is just, it's a perfect partnership. I just wanted to note that. I absolutely love the dynamic.
Yes, we love our habitats and definitely want to help where we can. So you don't have to focus on that manual work and just really focus on your mission. And with that, we have just 3 minutes left, but I think we've answered all questions. So we'll wait another 30 seconds or so in case any other questions come in. But I really do want to thank all of you for joining us today and really sticking with us and asking such really wonderful questions. And again, I do encourage you all to book a demo. You can get a little bit more hands-on view of the platform, get your specific questions answered, even more so than we went over today. We will be sharing the recording of this presentation in the next day or two. So do keep an eye out for access to that. All right, and it looks like we've answered all the questions. So thank you again. And we hope to see you next time.
It has been a pleasure.
Bye.